Chapter 56, Mechajaw Strikes Back. The Morphils from the Titanran battle have returned, and as Mechajaw makes his way back to Pod after checking all of his gears, as he does daily, the Morphils update him. Mechajaw is told that they have lost the fight. No Titanran died, as far as they know, and the Morphils were losing numbers fast. This angers Mechajaw to the point where he acts viciously with them, making the Morphils all back off as they try and apologize. Mechajaw is mad at his Morphils but also triggered that these Titanrans seem overpowering. He does have an idea to try and make the Morphils more powerful, perhaps by getting what is inside Pod's trident. In the end, one Morphil was harmed by Mechajaw as he hits it multiple times. The rest have already left alongside the harmed one. Mechajaw then decides to have a go fight against Pod as soon as Mechajaw returns to the cells, but after doing a couple of things first. Firstly, Mechajaw normally likes his Morphils to be in top condition. And those which are not, are mind-altered. But ones that cannot be fixed at all, like acting up after being mind-altered, will be sent to the planet of the Vuronix, which is a planet where you go from standing on your legs to being on a free meal for a whole race. Due to being threatened, Mechajaw tries to use his mind technology to try and get Pod on his side, but Pod's mind is too great. But what Mechajaw can still do is unlock memories of Pod, which does start to affect and scare Pod. Remembering not only his memories of being an Orca but also the times when he was a mindless Morphil. Mechajaw does have enough respect to give Pod a chance to fight to be the leader of the Morphils. And so Pod is left alone in his cell to get the next fight prepared and also give the audience a break after seeing and taking part in a previous fight. While Mechajaw leaves Pod, Mechajaw also explains more about the Morphils' origin. Their creator. Creati was someone who became interested in Orcus. He managed to go around the Earth without being spotted, and so saw some inspiration for what his next galaxy-protecting race could be. Pod was the first alien to be noted and noticed by Earth. And Creati did look around Earth for other inspiration, but Orcus won it for him. He was allied with Xemian too, who did have his galaxy-protecting race until Orpheon took it from him, and the Morphils would have been good if it wasn't for Creati's overstepping with experimentation. The Morphils ended up with Mechajaw, therefore Xyanthor, just like Orpheon, with Xemian trying to create Dian and help other planets while Vatus Empire was building up. At first, he was successful, treating his first few Morphils well. Even if there were problems like limited powers or how they were getting memories from the Orcus that were experimented on. The creator then took further leaps such as making Pod, which was able to absorb at least one element, as well as Mechajaw, which was mixed with netrobot technology. Mechajaw was sick of the lack of control and so took it upon himself. Just because he was controlled, it doesn't mean that he should take that away from others. Not to mention Mechajaw became more goal-oriented as Xyanthor had him and other Morphils' purpose to concur. But as we know, both Xyanthor and Mechajaw end up having different ideas for what peace should be. Even some Morphils agree with Xyanthor's vision of peace compared to Mechajaw's ideas, but no one can disagree with Mechajaw without being sent to the Vuronix. The first Morphils that are generated by Creati were carried over by getting much genetics from Orcus. Parts of an Orca's mind were carried over, which explains the flashes of memories which the early Morphils got. And this even carries over when Creati made a machine to duplicate Morphils, which Mechajaw has. Other parts helped with the origin, like the kind of skin, muscles, and even teeth the Orcus have, which the Morphils got. And Creati from scratch firms genetic codes to create a normal body of arms and legs but more jacked up. The next Morphil fight is about to begin at the arena, Pod versus Mechajaw. Mechajaw is keen to be brutal. But Pod is trying a more concentrated approach despite the memories all flooding back to him. Regardless, the fight begins, and it seems balanced so far. Mechajaw himself does have an interesting set of abilities. He is well armored thanks to Netro, which matches with some of the strongest skin ever thanks to Netroparticles in his DNA. He also had his handy set of weapons which can only be part of either arm, a special hand that can turn into a mace, a blade, or a laser blaster. The battle goes on fairly okay, with the Morphils split on who they want to win. From the previous fight, Mechajaw was curious about Pod's trident. It has similarities to Viber thanks to what Xyanthor reminds Mechajaw of this often. During the fight, Pod attempts to what skills he had shown off earlier and use it against Mechajaw, but because Mechajaw is physically harder, bigger and heavier, some moves like pushing or taking down won't be easy. However, Pod wants to use all of his aggression to harm Mechajaw to hopefully kill him. He does not need to be alive after all, not a murdering rampage machine like Mechajaw. Pod attempts everything, such as trying to jab his trident towards Mechajaw, forming ice structures around his hand for harder punches. Also using many massive flame-based attacks against Mechajaw, as well as trying to freeze or drown Mechajaw in a mound of ice and water. Despite the effort, not only is Mechajaw very tolerant, but it is the rage of Pod and the distraction of his memories coming back. It is diminishing Pod's full potential and concentration, making some of his fighting performances and Viber powers often half-baked. While Mechajaw doesn't have as many fighting moves, he does fight like an animal, biting, throwing and constantly whacking any opponent he comes across. He does manage to harm Pod in various ways, using all his weapons. Despite not being able to land his laser blade on Pod, Pod is still shot by his laser blasts a couple of times, whacked a good few times by the mace and claimed a couple of times by his clamping weapon. Pod has one more boost by merging the full power of Viber into one punch, being able to damage Mechajaw's chest piece of his armor, which gives Pod a sense of false hope that he could win. With the memories getting to Pod, Mechajaw takes advantage and aims to not only hurt Pod more easily but even wreck the trident, which means Viber is exposed. And so Pod attempts to charge up his power fully again as he uses water to rise above Mechajaw, but the memories of his past invasions come back to him again. And while Pod does put ice over the wounds of the sword jab, he is defeated, struggling to summon Viber, slowly fainting. Pod tries to get to Mechajaw with a final push. Pod is still unsure about the power which he can manipulate without the need of the trident. Pod attempts another go against Mechajaw without the trident as water, ice and fire are spawned from him, surprising everyone, but it is not enough. Pod gets knocked out by a good smack from Mechajaw. What Mechajaw didn't notice, however, is that one of Pod's ice-based jabs has managed to damage the main chest part of Mechajaw's cyborg body. This means that he is running out of time and needs an operation now, and this was enough to distract Mechajaw from killing Pod. Meaning some Morphils have to take Pod to the Vuronix, considering they are always hesitant to kill their kind. The minimum energy of the heat-emitting obsidian inside Mechajaw is running low fast. But he can not only be taken quickly to the room for his bodily repairs, but he finally has an element to fuel him. He didn't mind which one, but Viber was one of his more favored ones, considering the water connection to which he and other Morphils enjoy. But even the additions of ice and fire make Viber more exciting, and so he now has a permanent energy source, while Pod is sent to where he will gain permanent suffering, from the Vuronix. Once again, the Morphils are split again. The likes of Clam not only see Pod as a worthy fighter but someone who seems fairer and someone more sympathetic, compared to Mechajaw, who will not train the Morphils. Knowing that these Morphils train each other, Mechajaw never trains his race. He is too preoccupied with that. Even then, these creatures are genetically made to counter any combat situation, including martial arts. Mechajaw is also shown to be more animalistic, which encourages more Morphils to be on Pod's side. But even the other Morphils are either following Mechajaw out of fear or think Mechajaw is a good leader and that Mechajaw is only vicious to show strength, just like any other animal.